project-wise, I just wanted to walk through it with you real quick.
Yeah.
We're doing a fence all the way around the property.
Right.
We are building an ADU in the corner there.
Yep.
We're building a new deck here.
Yes, please.
With an aluminum pergola here. And then we're building a traditional pergola with a patio area there and then turf throughout. So today we have a dumpster coming.
Yeah.
First thing we got to do is cut all this fence down, get it in the dumpster. We're doing a live load. Yeah. And that's where they literally just park, idle the truck. Yeah. Let us fill it up, and then they leave downtown. Okay. That's our best approach. Yeah.
So the lilac trees, they're definitely ancient. You can see they've got holes in them. They are nice in the spring, but it's only short-lived, like two and a half weeks, and then they're done. And then it's just nothing but leaves all over the
so it's more of a pain than anything.
It is. I'd like to perhaps get rid of them and then maybe put some better cedars or something that's going to be a little bit more green. Yeah.
All right. So we'll try to cram these into the dumpster while it's here.
You guys get to it.
We'll start making a mess. It's right time to get started. Kyle, load up the Sawzall blades.
Lock and load.
Get a Sawzall for everybody. Let's get this done. We're going to start cutting some stuff down.
You can't find the Milwaukee charger? Try using your eyeballs. It's right there. Now we're in business. Timber!
So to recap what we've done so far since we started is we ripped down the existing fence entirely. We ripped up the concrete pads. We ripped up all the interlocking stone. We ripped up this porch. Limestone is great for a parking pad, but because they used it as the actual structure for this porch, it holds a lot of moisture, and that moisture has been pinned up against the house for, I don't know, 20 years. This is a piece of the rim joist of the house. This is actually a floor joist that the kitchen floor is on. This rotten wood is actually a floor joist coming out of the house. This is the insulation from the house. If the basement was unfinished, I could haul this out and look down there. The best thing that we can do now is get all of the dirt out of here, get all the limestone out of here, find out how far the rot goes back, possibly sister some new joists in there, bring them out flush, put a new ledger, flash it, get it all sealed up before we put our deck ledger on. So that being said, the future looks like it's going to be complicated, but I think we can get it done. Now, Concrete Day is up next, and we're very excited about Concrete Day because that's always a very fun time that's never stressful. This is Gord from Woodbully. I have a concrete truck on the way here this afternoon for noon, and I'm just wondering if I can get an ETA. It's Concrete Day, and of course the concrete truck is behind. I'm pretty sure that's an unwritten rule of construction where that's guaranteed to happen every single time. All right, so looks like it's going to be 1 o'clock before the concrete gets here. And will the boss always be stressed out on Concrete Day? Yes. Will the concrete be late? Yes. Will we all be home much later than we thought we would because we have to continue to pour the concrete once it starts? Also, yes. That's just the way it goes. All right, pick your favorite barrel. Come on, Kyle! Do you want me to do it first just to show you that it's possible? Sure. Okay, let's see.
That's a $4,000 wheelbarrow. Let me try.
All right.
A few moments later.
All right. Good thinking. We built the form for the concrete pad out of 2x6 spruce using two 16-foot pieces and two 10-foot pieces, as our pad will be approximately 10x6. Now inside that we put 3/4 clear gravel down for about 1.5 inches thick. Then we added the wire mesh. The reason we add the wire mesh is because the concrete is guaranteed to crack eventually, but the wire mesh reinforces it and stops it from being able to separate where it cracks. That way we can still maintain it as a proper foundation. This particular mix of concrete is designed for the winter with an accelerant added to the concrete, so it's meant for this type of work out in the snow. It's still going to take a couple days before we can build on this, but at least the concrete's poured now, and we can start framing this structure within a couple days.
Ooh, baby.
I thought he was going to go right over. So we're actually going to upgrade Pat's fence from a typical pressure-treated fence that was on the design to the Eternity fence by New Trend Fence. This system has 3x3 galvanized powder-coated steel posts that go 4 feet in the ground. It has tongue and groove vinyl fence boards and aluminum tongue and groove toppers. All right, so now that our string line is up and our posts have been marked at the top where our channels are going to go, it's just a matter of putting our channels in. So here's how this is done. I like to use a drywall gun, because it drives in these self-drilling tech screws like butter. I don't know why, it just does. You want to put 5 fasteners in each channel. So what I do is I do top, bottom, middle, and then I spread the next 2 sections out. You want to use a bit that's long enough to go inside the channel. That's just a little pro tip. These vinyl blocks are actually going to be our bottom rail, so to speak, because these boards, although they're great, we don't trust those to hold the whole structure up. We're actually using these vinyl blocks. So we put those inside the channel. It's a nice snug fit. Make sure it's right flush on the bottom. Then we put 1 screw in. What I want to do to make sure it's 100% level is I put my second vinyl block in, put it exactly where I want it. In theory, this should be perfectly level from A to B. But what we're going to do before we fasten our second block in is double check. Make sure that the first one is seated, bring the second one down, and then we're going to throw a level on it. And wow. Bang on. Now this would be your chance to toggle up or down to get it that perfectly level, because if your first board's not level, the entire section is going to look off. Put 1 screw in the plastic stopper to get started, and the rest is easy. We just stack like Lego. You want to make sure when you're doing tongue and groove that your tongue is up, your groove is down. Imagine if this was wood and you turned it upside down. That would just be something that would pool and hold water. In this case, sheds water, so tongue up. And you just put them in one at a time, stack them up, till you get to your desired height. Now, we're going to do a topper out of these aluminum tongue and groove boards, which are also supplied as an addition to the system if you'd like to use them. I like the way they look, so we use them. I'm going to use 3 for this design to get us up to that precisely 73-inch mark. And now we cut the topper to size exactly from the bottom inside to inside is what we cut the top, because we want to make sure that our top and bottom are the same inside to inside. If that's a nice fit, you know you're good. Now a couple of set screws to tie the whole thing together. 1 there, 1 there. That's it. Due to the weather over the weekend, we're kind of dealing with this issue where everything's covered in a blanket of snow. We can't tell what's what. The client did some pruning and left us a nice big pile of cedars. First thing we have to do is shovel off our pad, which is going to be the foundation for the shed frame. And then we're going to have to move all these fence boards, which is now probably going to be the 3rd time we have to move them. So now we're moving it 3 times instead of once, which is going to be annoying. And then we can start measuring up and getting ready to make some walls. All right, so we're going to get started on the frame, and we're going to get started on the south wall here because it's so close to the fence. Now, the setback from the property line has to be 18 inches for the structure. In our case, we are 18 inches away, but this fence was actually built on the customer's property line. We have to build this wall completely. We have to put the studs, we have to put the sheathing, we have to put the wrap, we have to put the strapping, and then we have to put the siding all fastened down before we even stand the wall up, because there's no way we can work inside that space. All right, that's our bottom sill. Whew. Nice piece of PT. Now we're going to cut our top sill the exact same size. All right, so here's a tip. You want to put your top and your bottom plate next to each other when you mark them out. That way you don't have to mark them separately. Our first sheet of plywood is exactly 48 inches. We want it to finish flush with the edge and then halfway on the 48-inch stud. So what we do is we mark, our 16 is our exact center. So we mark 3/4 of an inch back, and in this case we marry these together, And then you just make a mark on this side so you know which side your stud goes on. You know where your marks are, you've already made them. Here's a great example of why we put our X there. So we know our stud goes on this side of the line. We're actually going to frame this entire structure out of these structural framing screws. They're not typical wood screws. These are shear tested and code for framing, so we're going to use these today. Whether or not you've heard of them before, does not change the fact that they exist. Check these out, these Pilex piles that we drive in. It's very similar to the big piles that you see us put in for larger structures, but these are great for low-level decks, stair landing. These actually hold 5,500 pounds a piece. These particular piles go 50 inches deep to ensure they're below the frost line. But I put them in with this 1-inch Milwaukee instead of winding them with a 2x4. Now we're putting piles this close to the house because we're putting a beam very close to the house so we can avoid having the ledger take the load. So one thing you'll notice when you get close to the house is the earth is much softer because it's been disturbed to build the basement. So you find you're going to have to go a lot deeper to get the amount of torque that you want to make sure that it's good. And how we know is this thing can deliver a lot of torque. So once this thing can't turn it any further, we know we've gotten it to the point where we need to go. As you can see, we're getting close to the end and it's still going in like butter. So one thing that Pilex does is they offer these extensions, 2-foot extensions. So now we got this thing 8 feet deep. I think it's safe to say that the small amount of load from a low-level deck will be fine. You put your saddle on. You can either put a post on the saddle or you can rest your beam right on the saddle. That's the way we're going to do it because we're trying to keep a super low profile. This is framing lumber. Look at this.
Like a sports car.
Oh my goodness. That is a beauty. Today we're using Owens Corning lumber. That's a high density polyethylene and fiberglass composite or composite for my American friends. We're actually using that to frame the deck today. Not just the deck boards, but to frame the actual deck. So I know that seems unusual to you, but that's because this is a new thing. So let's try this. Woo! That bit nice. All right. Yes, the beams are in. Time for the joists. So where you see the extra blocking is going to be what we call a breaker board that goes up the middle in gray. And then we're going to do gray for the upper deck there next to the house. And the rest is all going to be brown. Black fascia all the way around for the risers and tie it in with the rest of the yard. I had an idea halfway through building the screen that we were going to, instead of doing all Ipe, we were going to incorporate some gray deck boards to tie in the design with the gray inlay here, the gray in the fence, and then the gray stones that are going to be all around the yard. In this area of the kitchen here, we're going to have a barbecue, and what we're worried about is how this, although it's not going to catch fire, we're worried about how it's going to react to constant heat. So that way, anything in the area around the heat sources is going to be made of solid Ipe, which has an incredible fire rating, won't catch fire, and is very heat resistant. The customer hasn't seen it yet, but I'm hoping that he appreciates what creative risks I take without his consent. In this case, I think you'll like it. It's literally snowing, not even like a week ago, and now it's 30 degrees, and I think that's like 88, 89 degrees for Americans. We have a rule, no one's allowed to complain about the heat. after working through the winter.
Look how our ledger has turned into a workstation here.
That happened
quick.
fast, eh?
Doesn't take long around here.
that.
All of a sudden it's a workbench.
All of a sudden, everyone just decides to set everything down on our working piece. What is this nonsense? These holes are already punched in, 12 inches on center, and these holes are pre-drilled for where our legs go structurally to attach it to a house. If we're building a deck, in this case, we're building a pergola. I don't think we really need all of these holes to hold the pergola up, but we'll put a few in for sure to make sure that it's up to snuff. Yeah, right there. You're good to go. Thank you, Kyle. As we don't want to look at the fasteners, hit them a little bit of this color match. The beauty of the color match paint is this stuff looks exactly the same as the powder coating. So if you do get any small scratches, this is actually really great to have. Just cleans everything up. Any scuffs, any scratches, or any fasteners that aren't black with the rest of the system. We have enough space there?
Yeah.
Yep, that's perfect. We take one of our tech screws, we put it in through the side of the joist tubing into the hanger. I'll do one on either side just for good measure. But,
Take the screw in the hanger.
Just pure beauty. Got him.
Got him.
This is the beam to joist connector and also the blocking in one. This is exactly for the 12OC that we're doing. We put these inside to inside, one on each one, and it matches the exact spacing that we have over here for the ledger and all the holes that have been punched. You want to make sure that these blocking spacers are nice and tight, seated on the beam, and tight between the joists. Then what you do, put your first screw down in the middle. You can screw in your sides. And then you put your additional two down into the beam from the top. We'd end it here and call it a pergola, but today Fortress gave us some 2x2 purlins to put on top, and I'm gonna mark them 24 inches on center all the way along, and then we'll install those going the opposite direction. All right, we're gonna mark 24 inches on center for the purlins. So we're gonna use a silver pen. Hopefully it shows up good. I'll start there, we'll go 24, and then I'll put an X where my purlin's gonna go so I know what side of the line. I'm gonna mark 24 all the way down, both sides, and then we're gonna run our purlins going this way.
I come home upset. My wife's like, let me guess, Kyle? And I say, yeah, he pushed me in the dirt again today. And then she rubs my back.
Got it.
Don't let that hit you, Kyle.
Imagine this on finish day. When the flowers are in bloom, we have garden beds surrounding the entire pad, and then we have these porcelain tiles that we're going to wet lay over this concrete, and this will be a perfect lounging area all summer long. All right, look at this door. Remember it was kind of arched, now it's like super modern, linear, matches the fence and the pergola. Today we're gonna go put the doors in on the shed at the sliding door. So, where's this door?
Well, there's some assembly required.
What is this?
It's just 1,400 pieces.
Typically we buy our doors prefabbed and ready to hang in a rough opening, but apparently I didn't read the fine print when I ordered this one, and I got a box of parts. What's up? Good, good. We're doing our sliding door. We're dropping it in this shed we built, and they delivered me this. But I was hoping that you could either give me some advice about how to do this, or if you're close by, you could come by and actually just give us a hand. All right, so my buddy Dave from Craft Living has assembled things like this before, and he's gonna come give me a hand. All right, take me to school, son. Right from the bottom, we're perfectly level. Textbook install. So Inlight has sent us our lighting order in a large box with a bunch of smaller boxes in them, full of a bunch of even smaller boxes in those. So our job is going to be to sort these lights out by species. We want to categorize them by species and their behaviors. And let's sort this out. This will help us get our heads around what it is that we're installing today. With this lighting plan, we have it worked out where we have 3 different zones. Zone 1, we're going to run from the transformer along the side of our privacy wall. Zone 2, we're going to run from the transformer in through the shed and then around the garden bed here under the pergola, around the pergola. And then Zone 3, we're going to run for the patio stone lighting accents and for the lighting on the edge of the deck. This is a 12 volt, 12 gauge wire, and it's basically like a battery. If you won't really get a shock, you can work with it live, and you don't have to worry about hitting it with a lawnmower and electrocuting anybody. It's low voltage. It's perfectly safe to do this with. We don't have to bury it in conduit. So all the Italians out there, just relax. We're going to wait till the sod is in before we install these lights. But what I want to do now is before we put the sod in is run our extension cables to where the lights are going to go. They come with these little 2-meter extension cables, make it even easier for us to do less splice work and more just light work. Okay, so we open our package, and what we have in here is a easy lock connector. We connect our easy lock to our 2-meter extension. Then we put our easy lock right on our main line. So the easy lock connectors are as simple as this. They come with these 3 parts. We plug this end into either the lighting fixture or the extension, in our case extension. This little piece of plastic grabs the lighting wire, which is 12 gauge in this case, which fits perfectly. Then we place it in the little teeth that it has for it. It lowers it on top of those staples that are going to puncture the wire. And then we take this little bottle cap and we twist it on until it seats itself and creates a connection. Ooh. There you have it. That we're going to bury under the sod, burrow ourselves a little hole, like a little squirrel. You can bury that. That's not going to cause any problems. Then you either put your lighting fixture on there, or in our case, our extension, and then run it to the light. Each lighting fixture will come with a wire with a male end on it, so you want to make sure your female end is ready. So you're going to put those 2 together, and that's how you get light. So for now, I'm going to run the extensions to over here. That, and then this is going to sit here, waiting. We'll lift it, lay the sod, put that back on top. We have our hole here where I need my lighting wire to come out, and we need to terminate it over there so we don't see any. I've got a string with a little bit of tape on the end. Instead of having Kyle put his mouth around the tube and suck on it, we decided to bring in a shop vac, and that's going to do the sucking for us. Chuck's got it on the end of the purlin. He's going to turn it on. I'm going to feed it in my hole here. I'm going to put this right inside the hole, and he's going to suck it on the other side right through the tube.
Well, the vacuum's going to suck it. I'm not sucking it.
Yeah, the vacuum is going to suck it, just to be clear, for the record.
I didn't get that on record. The vacuum sucks it, not me.
You caught one?
I think I caught one.
I think I got it.
Oh! Would you look at that right there?
Woo! We're using the scope ceiling light, and in order to do that, we have our mounting plate, and our mounting plate is going to go on the actual purlin itself. We're going to screw it up and into the purlin, and then we're going to mount this to the mounting plate afterwards. So I'm going to set this aside where we won't damage it. We just got to make sure we string our mounting plate through this shenanigans here. A little pre-drill. Mark them first. Try to let your bit walk. Chuck, you want to pull the slack off of that one? Okay. Get this through. All right, then we line our dots up All right, with the large part, give it a twist, turn. That's it. We did it. No wires showing. Totally worth it. Was it a lot more work? Yes. Would I do it again? Yes, because there's 3 more to put in, so obviously we're going to do it again. So we'll do that 3 more times. You don't have to watch that part, but that's how it's done. We spent most of our time today doing one light. Me and Chuck, check this out. It looks like it was built for this pergola. and there's no wires exposed. So that's what took us the time. We had to fish it through, we had to vacuum up a string through the tubes so you couldn't see, so we could hide all the lighting in the tubing and terminate it. So we got to do obviously quite a few more of those kinds of maneuvers, but it looks like it was meant to be, right? Like that light looks like it came with... Right?
Yeah.
We did it. You see us out here working with our hands all day, it gets you like agitated, you want to get out and do something.
Yeah, I didn't want to just commission you to do it and say, yeah, but I could see, yeah, I did that.
And then you put your own piece on the yard.
The nicer finishing touches that you're going to do, right?
Well, and then it's a collaborative effort. All right, so we're almost done. We are this close to the finish line. I could taste it. Pergola is providing a tremendous amount of shade, just like we thought it would. All we need now is the furniture. We need the fire pit. We need the tables, and we're set. Grass came in, the sod went in. We got that Kentucky bluegrass straight from the sod farm. And we did a little bit extra trim on Pat's passion project over here, just to kind of tie it in with the rest of the design and pretty it up just a little, put a little bit of lipstick on it. We are this close, we're almost done. Okay, so we got the damage on the asphalt here. It was already starting to go when we got here, but we might have helped it along with the machine when we came to do the dig. So it's our job to make it look nice. I'm gonna take the conch saw here. We snap the line that's nice and square. We're gonna cut the asphalt, remove it so we get a nice clean edge. That way our pavers will line up right to the edge and then go throughout to the rest of the yard. Look at that, it's actually really close. We don't have to do much to it. We'll have to regrade it a little bit because it'll have to match the slope because it'll be sloping like this. Much nicer than this finish that it almost was. So we can just remove. All right, it's pouring rain. Sorry we had to skip a lot of that, but check it out. As you get low, you can see it's smooth as glass, baby. Woo! Perfect slope, right from A to B. And with that, we are done. So I'm gonna take you back there to check it out. Do you remember what was here before we put these pavers in? I try not to, let's be honest. Right from the beginning, we had to bring up the ground level by multiple feet, put the grass in, we put the stepping stones in to keep things clean. Do you remember the old wooden fence that was here that we ripped down? Man, that thing was hideous. It is different now. We use the new trend system. And then over here we have the seating area. Of course, the fire feature is running hot. And the steel pergola overhead just adds that ambience, you know, that mood booster. That's what it's all about. And over here we have the deck, of course. The upper deck, it's got the accent lighting, the built-in bench, the aluminum louvered pergola. Again, more stepping stones to this shed. This shed, I'm sorry, but this must be the 8th wonder of the world. This is one of the finer sheds we've ever built. Maybe the finest shed ever built, dare I say it? I know, I kind of have to because I built it. And then as we step further into this thing, the dining area here, obviously. Do you remember the barbecue setup he had before? I'm pretty sure it was just a little barbecue covered in rust with a maybe like a foot of snow on top of it. There certainly wasn't rotisserie chicken spinning on it, I can tell you that right now. That's how we transform what was a dirt-covered, old, broken concrete pad into an outdoor living space. What are your plans for the backyard now that I'm out of your hair and I'm gonna hit the road?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna miss you not being in my backyard. Having seen you and Chuck and the boys in my backyard on a daily basis was kind of like, hey, it's just the guys working away. But my plans for the backyard is basically to enjoy it. Enjoy an extra section or an extra living space that my house doesn't have. We now have so much more square footage of outdoor living, which just makes me want to come outside, enjoy a cold beverage, sit by the fire, have dinner with my family, my grandson. I'm a new granddad. So this is not only for me or for my wife or for my dog, but it's also for my family, my kids and my grandkids, so they can come here and they can throw parties and they can have friends come over. My backyard is their backyard. So it's not just me, Gord, you did it for my family, my whole family, which is really appreciated. When I first met you, I didn't know who you were, but I felt very comfortable with your presence, your knowledge, your expertise on what you were telling me what the backyard would like to look like. But you also asked me, which I really appreciate, is what I wanted to see in a backyard. And I kind of gave you some ideas. And what you did is you came back with a design and a plan that just blew me away and said, this is my backyard. This is what I wanted in a backyard without actually knowing what I really wanted. What made me really know that you knew what you were doing is when you showed up every morning on time with the crew and you had a game plan. And every day I seen progression in my backyard from being something that was not very pleasant to see to what you're seeing now. So every day there was a new improvement to the yard, and that made me feel so comfortable with you. I did look at other contractors that came in this backyard and they did their walk around. The first thing I noticed, they weren't very friendly like. Yeah. They almost came in with a notebook and a piece of paper and they just said, what do you want? You want bricks? You want fence? You want this? Okay, we'll get back to you with a price. And he goes away and it's like, who is this guy? Like, I don't want that. I want someone who's gonna help me find the dream that I want in my backyard. And you did that. You told me what would look nice in this backyard. And we can get that happening. And the concept drawing that you provided was just like out of the world. That's exactly what I want in my backyard. So it's not about the money. Yeah. It's about having that confidence in your contractor to deliver what you're paying for. And you did it.
And that's a wrap. We are all done. And I have to admit, this has been one of my favorite projects thus far. Goes without saying, when a client gives you total artistic and creative freedom, the autonomy to do whatever you want in their backyard, it always turns out amazing. Right from the fence by New Trend, the steel pergola by Fortress, and the OC lumber deck, and of course the landscape lighting by Inlight that adds that ambiance and just increases the mood, takes this thing over the top to just phenomenal. Stay tuned for episode 2. We will be doing this again.